Okay, thanks for jumping in. Let's get started. So if that wasn't enough, there is a few more things that the anchor tag can do. So we can do things like download a file. So we're going to type in download. This attribute allows you to download a file. So if I use the relative URL and I point to that file that I was talking about in the previous section there, and now I'm going to tell the visitor or whoever sees this link what they're actually doing. So let's go check this out in the browser. I'm going to refresh. In the browser, we have the link that we created, download HTML image. If I click on it, you'll see that the browser would have downloaded this image. And if I click open file, this is the file that I've downloaded. And this is useful for if you are creating things where you have to download documents or important things like zip files or some kind of content. This is how you would do so. Now there's a few other things you can do around this one right here. We could go back to our link and we could put in a type. This is an attribute that suggests the link URL's format type. So that's getting into things like MIME type, but it's very useful if you want to tell the browser or something else what type of file that it is that you are downloading. So in this case, it could be something like image/PNG. That would be the type. You don't have to use this, but there's no functionality supported by this, but you could add this to something else where you'd find that useful. The other attribute is rel, and this is great because we can take a look at the relationship between the current document and the link document, meaning that, for now, if this was something to do with like being a style sheet, we would use this, whether it's something author, chapter, help, icon, whatever it may be, you can take advantage of using the relationship or the rel attribute. So where this comes in handy, and I want to talk about this real quick, is just if we had another thing here, link, not to be confused with the hypertext link, but over here you can see I'm using this attribute rel to link to this resource here using a relative URL, and this is what I'm linking to. It's a style sheet. So this is useful if you're creating search, or you want to do something with SEO and you want like a robot to not follow or something like that, or license or something, some other alternative. So that's a little bit, I know, a deep dive, a little bit more intermediate, but just note that that's there. You can do things around language. So you can use the hreflang tag, and that will specify the language of the link document. So you could use that one. You see that sometimes in specific tags related to localization. You also have the media attribute. What this does is this attribute specifies what media or device the link document is optimized for. So like it could be something like if we're doing print, you'd optimize this link for print or something like that. So the syntax is really just the media attribute and then what value you're trying to optimize that device for. So usually around special devices like speech or phones or something like that. Another useful one is the referrer policy. I won't really get into that too much detail, but this is useful for referring information to be sent with a link. You guys probably won't touch on that until a little more intermediate things, but for now, know that's available. And also, I think the last one is ping, and ping is also available. This is useful for when you want to notify a URL that the user is visiting. So for some reason, you may want to just, get this asset, but then I wouldn't do this, but you may want to ping google.com for some reason. So like, this is what this is for. But usually you'd want to ping the actual site where you're referencing the attribute from, or where you're referencing the resource from. And some of the more commonly used H-references may be around things like you want to have a telephone number, and let's say we have this number being, some number, and we'll add some digits here. And what this will do is inside of the actual link, if we were to do something like, call me or call support or whatever it may be inside the link. So if you had some text and you were like, call us, and you're on a mobile device, this would just, dial the number and reach out to whatever the number is supported here. The other thing is you could do something around email. You could say, use this one, go say mail to, and then you'd provide an email address and, then give a description to that. And then we'll jump out into the browser And if I was to click this, it will open up a mail client or something like that, and it'll try to get you to sign in to your email, or if you had it open, it would try to mail whatever you were trying to send to this email address here. You can also link to things like JavaScript. So you could do something like this, and if you had a function, we could say toggle, and this would try to open this function or do whatever this function was implying. As you can see, links are very, very powerful, and you can do a lot of things with them. One thing I didn't show you is if you had an image tag and you decided to wrap that around an anchor tag, so place the image tag within the anchor tag, you could link to an image. You could use an image to link to a resource like a URL or something. Here's the URL that I'd like to link to. Now I'm going to use the image resource. What would I like to show? And I'm going to choose images, and I'm going to use that HTML one again. And let's go check it out in our browser. If I refresh, here's this tag that I created, and within that tag, it's an image tag. So this is used very commonly. And if I click on this, it then takes you to, the playlist, which has all the series stuff that we have for the channel on HTML. Now, this is a longer video on links, and they're very powerful, and I just wanted you to digest everything that you can do with links and how they are used in HTML and how they made the web what it is today. Consider some of the best practices when using links. So it's really nice to open a link within the same window. If you have to open it in an external window, you can check out the target options or attributes. Links will play an important role in SEO. So using whatever keywords or how you describe the link will also help with accessibility and how your pages are ranked and certain things like that. I really want you guys to practice this one, have fun with links, try out some of the different linked examples that I gave you. If you have familiarity with Tailwind style some links, try to make unique things. Links are very useful in things like menus and navigations. So this is nice if I wanted to create a navigation or something along the lines. You can change these to whatever you'd like, but once you figure it out, you'll be able to do remarkable things with links. We will be getting to a point where we'll take all the information that we've learned and we'll be building out something. And I'll give you a quick example of something that you can do with links and what you could do when you have styles applied to these links and all the things that you've learned so far. So here is an example of a footer that I had styled. And right now, just because this page is a little bit magnified, I'm going to bring it down. But basically, this is the linking. We have all the links here. We link to different things. We have images wrapped around links. We have, social media links. And there's a few more pieces that I want to get to before we get to something like this. And we'll build it out. And we're going to build out a complete page and a few other things. But just work with what we have so far, practice those things. I know HTML may seem a little bit, foreign and kind of just alien if you've never really kind of used it before, but do practice that. And I know this video was once again really long, but I really wanted to hammer home the features and things with links because it's a vital part of HTML and it will help you guys move forward with a bunch of other things we're going to do. So that's it for this one, guys. And that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like the video if you found this useful. Leave your comments and thoughts below. Take care, and I will see you next time.